everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on episode 7 of Thousand Autumns, and oh, I'm so excited. I am very excited to see what's going to happen this episode. The only comment that I do have is from Be Happy for episode 5, where they say, Yan Wushi is such a puzzle. 5 episodes in, and the only thing we are sure about is that he's very powerful, especially after 10 years in seclusion, and he has a keen interest in Shen Qiao, and that he likes sitting in windows all sexy. Them being opposites in many ways, and that a dynamic between them is what makes me fall in love with Thousand Autumns, and I'm so glad you're having a great time watching it and discovering this amazing story. Yes, I would agree with that. Thank you, Be Happy. Be Happy's our moderator for this channel. I have really enjoyed reading everyone's comments, especially those that are like, I can't wait till you get to the novel. I'm like, yes, me too. Like, the Donghua is really good so far. I like the Donghua a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's good to fangirl, but I'm not gonna lie, I am so ready to just dive into that novel. I am so ready, but we're not even halfway yet. That's not till after next week. So we're not even halfway through the Donghua. We've got a long time to go, and I'm not mad about it. So last episode, as it were, Yan Wushi basically just carried around Shen Qiao everywhere. But he faced UI, had a confrontation with him, found out UI and old Tuanchen might have been doing some dastardly things behind Shen Qiao's back, and Shen Qiao just reached his lowest point and asked Yan Wushi, who was not disagreeing with it at all, to take him away. And so now it's like, what is our boy gonna do? So apparently the episode ended with Yan Wushi bridal carrying him away. And I was so curious. As soon as Be Happy gave me the go-to to check comments, I was like, I have to do it because I have to know now what's going to happen. And I have a feeling that's going to be the case for every week leading up to us getting to the novel and the end of the Donghua. So there we go. But before we start, I do want to give a shout out to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon to thank all of those patrons who support me. If you're not able to support me on Patreon, I understand. Please give a like to this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel so on Mondays you can watch Thousand Autumns with me. And if you are able to support me on Patreon, I have like 4 tiers. You should go check it out. Everybody gets three of those tiers get things a week earlier than everyone else. One of those tiers, just the cheapest tier, gets access to the polls, gets access to the Discord where we can talk about Thousand Autumns, but everything else, you get things ahead of everybody else on YouTube, and who doesn't want to get things earlier than everyone else? So just be sure to go check it out, and thank you so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. But shout out to Be Happy, to Alex Cornejo, to Damage3245, to Dana, to Ichu, to Eric, to Fisho, to Ghostly Turnip, to Daniel, to James, to El Freya, to Lyndon, to Murphy, Willie Morris, as well as Translucent Men, Sunspots, Shimuyama, as well as Nicholas, Sean, James N, Diana Williams, and Rose Jennison. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, that's all I gotta say before diving in. I really have been so eager to get into this, y'all, and I hope you all are as well. But we are gonna be starting at the 2 minutes and 25 second mark because I cannot watch the OP and ED yet. I'm getting close to being able to watch the ED though, and we're gonna do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's begin, shall we? Well, I feel like not only are these episodes getting shorter and shorter, I don't know how long this episode was, but I felt like it felt so short. It felt like we just zipped right by it, but this was the first episode out of all the ones that I've watched that I don't know if you could tell through the reaction, but I was sitting there like trying to piece everything together. There was a lot that went down exposition-wise. I loved the fights. The fights towards the second half were great, but I felt like there was a moment where something was said and I was like, I don't feel like we've touched on that yet. So I am sure that anything that I miss, I'm going to see in the novel. So in the comments, I don't necessarily want anybody to like correct me or tell me what I'm missing. I'm just going to theorize and walk through it with you all. And if I am missing something, I am keeping these notes so that when I get to the novel, it won't be as daunting, because I had to bring Whiteboard Kun out and go back and retrace some things because some names came up and I was like, oh, I remember those names. We need to go back through them. So that's what we're going to do in this. But we got to meet more of Yan Wushi's sect. Yan Wushi is interesting because he clearly has no problem hurting people, no problem killing them. He's like, we're just going to do it in a classy way. And I was like, okay. But for some reason, he does still give me like, has a good heart vibes. So I don't know what to do with that. And I'm sure we'll find out as the story goes, right? It's going to be a big story. So I'm sure we're going to find out as we go through this. But still, I'm excited to see what all we're going to get from him. So this episode was called Ask the Heart About TAO. And we know that the TAO is a priest. I'm sure that there's some... Now, if people in the comments want to talk about the title of the episode and if the translation is weird, by all means, help a girl out, because I'm not exactly sure what that goes on to it. But we know Shen Qiao is feeling bad. He feels betrayed because he was. And he's like, why is everything happening? Why is my sect wanting to work with Beimu? We tried to like get Beimu and get rid of them. Why are we joining forces with them? It's even worse than the evil gang, supposedly. And Shen Qiao's like, I just want to go back. And so, yeah. And of course, Yan Wushi's like, everybody betrayed you. Don't you want to kill those betrayers? I could help you. So we're going to be going through this episode bit by bit because I feel like we have to. Starting out at the Yingzhou Inn. Everybody's at an inn. This damn inn with its cherry blossoms. I mean, at least the Huanhe sect, because there's the Hua, which is flower in its title, at least they are thematic. These bitches come in a flare of dramatics with all the cherry blossoms. I mean, I don't blame them. If I could enter a room, it would be with cherry blossoms. I want to establish something. When Yan Wushi goes back into the room, what we can determine from this inn is that Yan Wushi got one bedroom for him and Shen Qiao. But something else that should be apparent or noted is that Shen Qiao is not in the bed. Shen Qiao is on the little side bed, the little side guest bed, if you will. So to me, that automatically tells me that Yan Wushi did not take advantage of Shen Qiao. He gently laid him in the guest bed and he went and slept in the other bed. Being a respectable gentleman, we are all about consent on this channel, so I am all about that. I'm like, okay, all right, Yan Wushi, we were, being a nice gentleman. I'll take that. Also, if he was not already swooning over Shen Qiao, walking up to him on the bench and seeing the petals like flow down upon him, I mean. So anyway, he's like, who's there? And that's when Shen Qiao wakes up and he like juts the arm out, and then Yan Wushi's like, hello. I cannot get enough of Yan Wushi animated. He looks so good. I know, did this CGI use like the motion capture that some of them have used in the past? Is that right? Is that correct? It seems almost like it. And then he just laughs and he's like, And he's like, I like he just pushes with the bamboo pole his hand back. Seeing you frightened and nervous is interesting. Now he offers him, saying that it's for his eyes and to help with it. It's good for his eyes. But I don't blame Shen Qiao for putting aside the little cup because it immediately reminded him of UI poisoning him, and that's some trauma he's not quite worked past. So yeah, But yeah, his eyesight's not back yet though, right? I don't think that it is. And he's like, what is the world? And he's like, what is this question? I think that what that translation was trying to do is for Shen Qiao to ask, like, what's going on in the world? He's like, I've been a recluse this whole time. I was happy with not knowing the affairs of everything else around me, but because of what UI has done, I can't really avoid that now. So I kind of need to know, like what's going on? You said that there was all this chaos and I don't know enough, and so now I kind of want to figure out what's happening. He's like, as for UI's matter, I'm also responsible. I don't even know their intentions. And Hu Yulugu ordered Kunye to come back, not only to challenge me, but he's like, I just want to go to Beifong with you and figure out the intentions of Beimu and UI. So, our sweet boy, our sweet bean, Shen Qiao, his main thing is that he wants to go to Beimu, where the conference is happening, to find out what is happening, or he wants to go to like Beifong, that's what it is, to find out with Beimu and UI, why are they teaming up? He wants to know what's up. He's like, it's my fault that I didn't know, it's my fault I didn't learn, well now it's my chance. So I need to figure that out. So can you take me there and can we do this? I also okay, so here's the thing. Yan Wushi's had that damn ring on the entire time. I was trying to make sure. I'm like, is that the golden flower ring? I'm assuming Shen Qiao still can't see, so he wouldn't know. And he kind of like brushes off the advances or touching of Yan Wushi, so he wouldn't have felt it. But when he makes the little flower into like a little, the petals of the cherry blossoms into their own little lotus flower, that was really cute. He says when he defeated him on the peak back then, he made him swear not to come back for 20 years. And they left a token on it. I don't know what that means. That feels like a translation issue. I don't know why that is, why it's being said that. I don't know. And he says now that 20 years have passed, his disciples come back. So that's the gist of it. He challenged you to a fight, but it's not that simple, of course. And so that's when Shen Qiao remembers that he's after the ring. He's like, on that day, he asked me for the golden flower ring, but I didn't know the answer, and that's when I fell off. And Yan Wushi doesn't really say anything about the ring. He doesn't really, say, oh, that's interesting. Or he's like, that's it. You found the last piece of the puzzle. Okay. So he's like, I always suspected that the troubles he made aggressively, with great fanfare, were just a disguise. And sure enough, the sacred golden flower ring of Beimu is the real reason that he's after you. But he's not offering if he knows anything about that flower. Yeah, the celerity is just an excuse. They're all looking for the ring. The one ring to rule us all. The one ring to bind them, Unfortunately, Grandmaster didn't leave any information about the ring. If Yan Wushi's had that damn ring this whole time and just hasn't said anything, and Shen Qiao, the only reason he doesn't know is because he can't see. Okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. He's like, Kunye's after the wrong person. And he's like, wrong person? He and Ui have chimed in pretty easily. Yeah. I do like that Yan Wushi is saying, regardless of who has the ring, he's like, they really just don't want you in the picture. So that part isn't wrong. Those associated with the evil and let what happened happen. Don't you plan to do some... the translation in this episode was a little off, and I'm sure you all probably noticed it. I think that was why I felt in the reaction I was spending more time like trying to read what was going on, because he's like, don't you plan to do some liquidations? So he's like, are you planning on taking care of this? Right? And I like that Shen Qiao's like, I'm afraid your way of doing things would completely wipe out Mount Zhandu. He's like, if I went and tried to get some stuff accomplished with UI and stuff, he's like, if you did it, you'd probably wipe the entire sect out. He's like, I don't really want to do that, though. He's like, choosing good or evil is just out of instinct. Don't worry about that. Oh. And then, of course, when he says, Shen Qiao says choosing good. I want to go back to that. Choosing good or evil is just out of instinct. And that's when he's like, oh, shit. He's like, what did I just say? And Yan Wushi's like, what did you just say? So he says, choosing good or evil is just instinct. You aroused that man's attention, sir, in more ways than one, I'm sure. Because Yan Wushi's like, oh? He's like, do you also bear evil thoughts? He's like, what are they? Tell them to me. Talk to me about them. And so here's the thing. Did he? Because the ring, I thought they said in episode 1, the ring can make you control people. And Shen Qiao's, I didn't know what exactly, because he's right beside him. And that's when he does this enchantment where he says, tell me your evil thoughts. He's like, I want to know your fantasy. Yan Wushi starts being ludicrous. What's your fantasy? Oh, you know that Yan Wushi plays Ludacris's What's Your Fantasy while thinking about Shen Qiao every night. You know that happens. Y'all do, right? That's happening as we speak. So this was interesting. He says, Ah Zhao, he's like, what are your evil thoughts? Tell me about them. And Shen Qiao's like, and he's about to tell him his dirty secrets. And that's when the guy interrupts him with the tea. And the way that Yan Wushi like goes, we're busy here was really, really effective. I liked that a lot. He's like, just put it over there. And Shen Qiao's like, did you use an enchantment on me? He's like, that's called enchanting voice. I know the tricks of the HEADPHONE sect. After hearing it for several times, you won't fall for that so easily in the future. So the question is Yan Wushi telling the truth? Because was Yan Wushi telling the truth? Because what basically he says is he uses his enchanting voice. He uses his enchanting voice on Shen Qiao to try and train him to be used to it. I mean, I kind of want to believe him that he's like, I think it's dual purpose. I think Yan Wushi really did want to know what Shen Qiao's evil thoughts were because he's super curious. But I also think he was trying to get him used to it so that if, somebody else from his sect tries to use the move, then it won't be such a big deal. And then he's like, ah, ha, 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 ha. So then we go to this restaurant. They're like, there's a demon around. And they're all talking about Huo Shijing that tears people's faces off. And as soon as we hear that, we know exactly who it is. So these two guys, we're going to talk about them in a hot second. I thought they were with Bai Rong, but they are not. And so Shen Qiao overhears them talking about Huo and realizes that Bai Rong and him, their match must not have lasted long because he's still at large, right? And Shen Qiao just ends up getting kind of distracted by their conversation and worried about everything. And he's like, I know you want to be a savior again. Yeah, basically, Yan Wushi's like, look, I know you want to play hero. You've heard about Huo, and you want to go find him and stop him from his evil deeds. He's done so many evil deeds. Oh, and so Yan Wushi says, okay, he would have been kicked out of the evil gang if, it hadn't been the evil gang. So basically, Yan Wushi says that the only reason that they didn't kick out Zhou Hijing is because he's part of the evil gang. So it's kind of expected that you're evil if you're part of the evil gang. Okay, someone also said here that they made note that he took the face of the daughter of Rin Yin of Jianshou. Okay. Interesting. Because, yeah. Okay, because they're all part of the Ryu of Fengjiu. I'm trying to think if there's any connection here, but not yet. But I feel like that Yin name came up later on in the scene where Yu gets involved. Gorgeous and lovely. He's like, please don't implicate others. He's like, he's a member of the evil gang, but he belongs to HEADPHONE. He's like, Huanya is a righteous sect. I love that he's like, we kill whoever we want to, but we don't use such lowly means. He's like, you can join my sect. He's like, don't join those other two. We don't know anything about Fajing, but he's like, don't join HEADPHONE. He's like, they're a bunch of losers. Join my sect instead. What do you think, Zhao? How about joining my sect? But Shen Qiao's just like, there's too much noise. He's like, it's so noisy here. Let's take a walk outside. He's like, oh, I hear there are nice flowers in the yard. Yeah, well, she's like, don't you want to take a romantic stroll? And he's like, suit yourself. I'm going back to my room. But Yan Wushi's like, no, you're not. He's like, I asked you to go walk around the flowers, not go back to your room. And then Shen Qiao says, sometimes I really think you are more a hooligan than a sect leader. I like Shen Qiao's like, you're more just annoying than you are trying to be evil. And he's like, ha ha ha. He doesn't laugh at that though. Yan Wushi says, hearing it from your mouth makes me happy. He's like, good. I'm glad I'm a hooligan. Glad you think that. Oh, these two. You must be going back to your room to practice. So why don't we practice outside, not alone? He's like, that would be, why don't you practice with me? How dare? It would allow you to improve faster. He's very, Yan Wushi gets that hand on that shoulder and he gets that purring voice and it's very convincing. Shen Qiao is a very bold man and a patient man and a strong man to resist that, because if he could see the way that Yan Wushi looks at him, scandalous. He's like, you. And he's like, nope, yoink, let's go. So then those other two guys get up and follow them out to the courtyard. All right. And so, yes, leader Yan, here we go. And so they're like, okay, so we have Ji Zhang and Zhang Jiquan. Okay, from Lingchan Palace. Okay, we're going to talk about this. So we have Ji Zhang. I think Ji Zhang is the one that fights Shen Qiao. And then we have Zhan Jiquan? Yep, and they're just the disciples from the palace. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. So they're like, they explain who they are. Nice to meet you. And they're like, yep. And then we have this. And he's like, nice to meet you. Okay, but can he see him? Can Shen Qiao see them? He's not using the walking stick as much as he was before, so can he actually see them? You're the disciple of Ruyan Keihui. Okay, so I looked this up because that name sounded familiar. Ruyan is the #1 martial artist in the story, right? We had established that in the top 10, Shen Qiao was one of them in the top 10. Ruyan is #1 from Lingchan Palace. He is the #1 martial artist. So these two disciples are his, and he's the strongest guy in the story that we know of. So far, yes. The disciple he's most proud of. He's like, oh, how I'm flattered. He's like, Master Ruyan is my master. And he's like, okay. He's like, I was about to say you were just so-so. Oh, come on. Come on, Yan Wushi. You're just stirring up trouble. So he's like, Ji Zhang was from the Qin Ji family and is the best of this generation. So he must never have heard such mean words. Okay, that was the inner monologue that Shen Qiao had. He was like, I was invited by Su's mansion, the capital of Beifong, for Mrs. Su's birthday. Okay, so they're supposed to be going to Beifong, which is conveniently where the conference is being held, and it's Mrs. Su's birthday. Well, hell, what? Who's Mrs. Su? I don't know her. What is going on? Get all these new names. My master heard you were also invited, and he sent me an invitation to invite you to a meeting in Chang'an at the 5th of the 5th month. So basically, they're going to have a big Cinco de Mayo party at Chang'an, and he's basically been there to invite Yan Wushi to Chang'an on May 5th. I mean, Yan Wushi's going to have to check his agenda. He's going to have to check his schedule and his planner to make sure that fawning over Shen Qiao isn't taking up that day. But I'm going to probably guess that it is. So I don't know if he's going to be able to go unless Shen Qiao goes with him. He's like, if he wants to see me, just let him come. What is with all this? Interesting. What's kind of curious is Yan Wushi kind of throws it off. Like, I don't want to see him. Like, he needs to come to me. Interesting. I think maybe Yan Wushi is maybe a little more hesitant because Ruyan is the toughest fighter. I don't know. So he's like, well, do I have the honor to witness your martial arts? And Yan Wushi's like, actually, why don't you fight Shen Qiao? He's like, if you can't even defeat Shen Qiao, then you don't get to fight me. Shen Qiao's like, I did not ask to be a part of this at all. He's like, oh, I admire you, though. And he's like, oh. It's like, you're having this honor because I like you. Now, I know that they translated that, and I'm sure that it, isn't supposed to come off romantic, but basically Shen Qiao's like, well, I'm flattered you would ask me to fight for you, but is that necessary? And Yan Wushi's like, because I asked you, yes. I'm asking you because I think that you're good enough to face him in a fight. So, yeah, and then, saying you're a servant, I'm like, He's like, practicing martial arts is not for fighting. And he's like, yeah, but I like that Shen Qiao says to Yan Wushi, he's like, I want to practice my martial arts, but fighting with people. And Yan Wushi basically goes, how are you going to level up, Pokemon, if you don't battle some people? He's like, how will you know how fast your body can recover unless you fight someone? I mean, so you can't really argue with Yan Wushi's logic on that. He's pretty on point with it. So they decide to have this fight, and Shen Qiao's like, okay, fine. It's an honor. I'll do an exchange with you. Let's go. And it's a really good fight. I loved the choreography between them. I wanted to just literally wanted to just play a video game of them and act as Shen Qiao and just spam the B button, right? So Yan Wushi says during the fight that Lingchuan Palace is known for its effective, simple moves. But this Zhejiang just likes complicated and useless ones. So he's not a very good disciple, despite saying that he's one that Ruyan's proud of. He's not the best. Interesting. Also, this illusory sword is freaking cool. The fact that he's created this sword-like entity and aura around his bamboo pole is amazing. Still, why is Yan Wushi keeping Woferal from him? I don't know. I guess we'll find out as the story goes, but this was a really good fight scene. I liked this a lot. And it was just a lot of fun to watch. He's like, they're mostly composed, but Zhejiang is getting more and more impetuous. So yeah, he finally ends up losing. I like the one guy's like, bro, man, you got hurt, bro? How dare, bro? Like, and then Shen Qiao's like, well, I did fight you. He's like, you're being modest. You hurt me too. This world is full of hidden tigers. I like that phrase, it's full of hidden tigers, just to say that Shen Qiao is more of a threat than he lets on. And then they just peace out, and that's it. And Shen Qiao's like, okay, well, at least nobody really got hurt. I love when he starts coughing. Yan Wushi walks up and he's just like, handkerchief? Like, he really wants, he really wants Shen Qiao to use that damn handkerchief. It's kind of amazing. I love it. What you just now made me look at you with new eyes. Okay. Interesting. I wonder why he said that. Wonder why. And Shen Qiao was like, are you making a joke because I'm blind? He actually did take the handkerchief, though. He's been avoiding it this whole time. He did actually take it, so we're making progress. He's like, being nice is not being a pushover. I love Shen Qiao for everything he says with this, because he's like, just because I'm kind doesn't mean I'm weak. He's like, just because I'm nice doesn't mean I'm a pushover. He's like, it takes more strength to be a good person than it does a bad person. I love Shen Qiao standing up for his beliefs and his convictions. If I'd come out earlier, maybe Mount Zhongdu wouldn't have colluded with Beimu. I feel so bad for Shen Qiao because he feels this guilt. He now has this like guilt that he should have came out sooner. Is that a veiled reference to his sexuality and he should have come out sooner? Maybe. But yeah. So I feel for Shen Qiao because he's like, if I had just been a little bit more vocal about myself and about my position, maybe I could have convinced UI to not work with Beimu. Maybe I could have figured out what was the problem. Okay, so then we have, all right, so this person, oh, this is the woman. Okay, this is the leader of the HEADPHONE sect. She is waiting in the wings. I thought it was the back of someone's head, but it's the bottom of her dress. Okay. So this is before Hyo shows up. So the pavilion outside Chang'an City. Okay. So we find out that Chang'an is where Yan Wushi's hideout has been. Yan Wushi's like hideout area where Yu has been near Chang'an this whole time. That's why Yan Wushi was like, well, have him come see me. That all makes a lot more sense now because they're in the same location. Okay. So yeah, so we get Sweet Yu back again. And then he's like, why is the Grandmaster not here? And he picks up the tea and is like, what is going on? And then as he like looks into it, there's the guy's freaking face. Hyo's face with the mask creeped me out for just a little bit. Nope. And then luckily Yu is actually pretty competent and able to kind of withstand this guy. But man, seeing Huo like in the flesh in his like actual attire and actual face was really interesting. He's like, I was distracted by your beautiful face. And he's like, oh, he's like, Huo Xijing. He's like, yeah, why are you looking at me like that? Yeah, a member of the sect. I'm here to give you what's left of your servant, Ji Ying. So, I don't know. I feel like 7. Like, what's in the box? Like, that moment. I don't know what exactly was in the box. But he killed, as we find out, killed Ji Ying, which was a servant of you, Sheng Yan. I didn't know who this person was. Didn't know this was a thing. I feel the novel will talk more about it. They don't show us what's in the box, which is kind of, I'm assuming maybe it's part of his face, I guess. But we don't know. All we do know is that Yu gets really pissed about it. He's like, you actually killed him. He's like, he had been with me for years. So yeah, this was a big deal for him. He's like, I have to avenge him now. And to console his innocent spirit. So then they start fighting, which is great. It's good to know that this evil gang, they are not opposed to fighting each other for the sake of that. He's like, if you still want to attack me. And that's when Yan Wushi shows up and he's like, bitch, what's been going on here? He's like, you haven't killed this guy yet? Come on, you. I'm still in shock that Shen Qiao killed him. I still can't believe that Shen Qiao actually killed him. He says, my grandmaster, Sang Jingji, sent me to pay Master Yan a visit. Okay, so Huo Zhijing's master is Sang Jingji. There's so many characters in the story. There's so many characters. So yeah, they're meant to pay him a visit and say he hopes that we can forget what happened and cooperate. And Yan Wushi's like, bitch, no. Are you... I like how he's saying, are you saying I'm old? You call me Grandmaster. Am I old? I didn't know Yan Wushi had this, like, affinity towards people. I didn't know Yan Wushi got offended if you called him old, but now that that's opened up, I'm like, how old are you, sir? Is this going to be a point of contention? Is this something we're going to have to know later on and find out? Interesting. So yeah, he's like, you should practice harder against this guy. So then Huo makes a big mistake. I'd like to think that Yan Wushi was walking back with Shen Qiao, and Shen Qiao's still blind because he has his little stick, so he is using it here. But I'd like to think that Yan Wushi and him were walking together, and then he saw that stuff was going down with you, and he's like, hey, hold on, I'm going to go check that out. And he just left Shen Qiao walking to his own devices. So then he's like, oh, I'll just go after him. And I'm like, yeah, no, you ought not have done that, because Yan Wushi don't play, and he don't like you attacking his, like, could-be boyfriend. So he's like, hold on, I gotta go take care of this. And then what I like about this is Yan Wushi saying, like, actually, you know what? Episode 1, I would have done everything in my power to go out and save Shen Qiao, but I'm gonna let him kick the crud out of you now. And then Shen Qiao starts to fight back against him. It's really good. Yeah. And so they start going at it and fighting each other. And while that's all going on, and we find out about the illusory sword, that's when we start hearing, like, this laughter. And I thought it was Bai Rong. I thought it was her. I thought it was her laughter. We saw the flower petals. But the flower petals are literally for the Ryu sect. So it's just all of the sects have the flower petals at their disposal, right? So then we get this woman. She is so interesting in her design. I like that Yan Wushi sat down, being like, he was like, okay, no, Shen Qiao's got this. I'm going to drink some tea. I'm going to sit down. We're all good. Yeah. So he sits down like he's not worried about whatever's going on. It's like, where did this master come from? And then whenever Shen Qiao knows the petals, he's like, oh God, it's an enchantment. So that's why he gets slumped up against the tree. And then this woman shows up, big-bosomed and barefoot, which is interesting to me. Barefoot, because you don't normally see female characters like, I don't know, maybe unless they were demons in Scum Villain Self-Saving System. Usually they have shoes on, but for them to be barefoot, and she's all in like white, which isn't that like funeral garb clothing colors in China, that's interesting. Interesting. So she is the leader of HEADPHONE. So the leader of HEADPHONE, the leader is Yan Zhuju. She's very pretty. She's very pretty. I don't know. Bai Rong's still my queen. I love me some Bai Rong, but she's very pretty. So the fact that Huo's master is Sang Jijing, but he's still part of HEADPHONE sect is interesting. So I'm guessing that Huo's not very high up on the ladder, apparently. Interesting. Yeah, she's really pretty. I like her. And so she's like, you're a good for nothing. Step aside. And she's like, oh, Yan Wushi, 10 years have passed, but you're still as handsome as ever. He's like, well, thank you for not calling me old. She's like, I'm really falling for you. And then oh my God. So to firmly establish that Yan Wushi is not interested in women whatsoever, he's like, if you want to pretend to be a fairy, then put your sluttish face away. Put your sluttish face away is amazing. Amazing. You want to act like an angel, quit being a whore. I was like, that's basically what he's saying. I was like, oh my God. That's basically it. I was like, wow, that's something. So yeah, he's just like, I'm not interested. Because what does he say right after that? He's like, other men may buy that, but for me, it makes me sick. Which, other men may be all about you, but you make me sick is, I know it might not be, it may not seem like that, but that seems a pretty veiled reference to the fact that we ain't interested in what other men would want you putting down. So, I'm curious. He's like, next time, change your outfit. He's like, basically, if you don't got a dick, then we must quit. So, and she's like, excuse me? I like that the lighting that she has in the Donghua, if you've ever watched the Addams Family, like the live action movies, Morticia Addams always has this like lighting on her face that it's done very intentionally. She looks like that too. And she's like, well, Mr. Yan, I'm here for some business. I like she just pushes you aside. Huan Het and Hui Huan can cooperate with each other. We can talk Baifeng out of waging war with Nanya, and I'll persuade the emperor of Nanya to give. Okay, so she brings up this whole scheme, this whole plan. We need to write this down, right? She has come to do some business and is talking about that the Huan Ye and He Huan, they need to work together. That's the first thing she says. They need to work together and cooperate with each other. And she's trying to do the same thing he does, like with her hands and everything. But I'm like, girl, he just said that ain't gonna work. We can talk Beifong. So they want to talk Beifong out of war. Okay. They want to get them out of war and then persuade. And persuade, I'm going to write all of this down in my notes. Persuade the emperor. Emperor of Nanya. I think by next week I'm going to have new markers, so that's going to help out a lot with this. To give Beifong the land on the north of Hangzhou and Shouzhou. So basically saying to give Beifong the land. This is probably not going to be any relevance later on, of Hangzhou and Shouzhou. I feel like these are just places that will have no bearing, but I need to write them down anyway. And she's like, what do you think? And he's like, well, Nanya is going to become a part of Beifong sooner or later, so whatever. He's like, why do I care about these trivial matters? If your Heiwan sect can merge into my sect, then I would persuade the emperor to give up waging war. So basically he's like, look, you want us to cooperate together? Fine, sure. You come join my sect and let me be in charge. And yeah, we'll get right on that. How about that? How about it? And she's just like, oh, isn't that better than being Beimu's dog? So basically he's saying like, oh, are you actually working with Beimu and all of this? Because it seems like this is, is a plan similar to that. And she gets really offended with that at the moment. So then she takes a bait. She's like, why do you have to be so overbearing? I'm like, that's kind of his niche. Like, being overbearing is kind of his thing. What do you mean? And so then she fires. This is the thing that was weird. She fires something at him, and I'm sure that it was just starting a battle, but because it like blacks out and does this weird, awkward black transition, Scumvillain did the same thing too. I was like, but why? Anyway, Shen Qiao is sitting there meditating, gaining his strength back, and that's when Ho puts the knife to his throat, saying that he's going to attack him. And I'm like, you probably should not have done that. And then we find out it was a shadow move. Yep. So basically Shen Qiao is luring him out. And he basically is like, okay, he said the face of Ren Yin's daughter was peeled off and by you and made into a puppet. And he's like, so what if it's true? It took me a lot of effort to retain that kid's smile. Okay, I fed her poison first and then peeled off her perfect face before she breathed her last breath. Yeah, and Shen Qiao is going from being Superman to Batman. He's starting to become like a vigilante because he's like, why did you do that? Why did you kill her? Like, it bothered him back at the inn, and just slams his eyes. The irony of Shen Qiao causing another man to lose sight is not lost on me at all. But yeah, he like says, oh, leave me alone, run away. Like, I'm guessing the illusory sword that he created like sliced his eyes to get rid of his vision. I'm guessing that's what happened. He's like, you know what pain feels like to those whose faces were peeled off by you. Have you ever showed mercy? Shen Qiao is kind of scary when he gets all into like vigilante justice mode. He gets actually pretty scary. And then he goes to run off. And then Shen Qiao stabbed him in the back. And you see the blood when he pulls it out. I can't believe Shen Qiao killed a guy. I can't believe he killed a guy. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. He was going to fight Kunye and possibly kill him, but I can't believe he actually killed him. We saw it on screen. Ah! And then he just goes to lay down and meditate again. And Yan Wushi's like, oh, hey, that guy's dead. And she's like, this guy's dead. Even a dog has a master. However hateful, she's like, he's not a member of Heiwan's sect. Oh, your man just killed him like that? Oh, interesting. And she goes to like get onto him, and he manages to meet her fist and her attack. All right. Poor Shen Qiao, though. He keeps getting pushed up against trees. That poor man cannot catch a break as far as that goes. But yeah. I'm curious why Shen Qiao was meditating, but I'm sure we'll find out in the novel why that was happening. She's like, he was still alive after taking that hit. And she goes to attack him again, and that's when Yan Wushi's like, no, I think we've had enough of that. He's like, no. You're going to fight me if that's the case. And she is not ready to do that today. So, she's like, you're so heartless, but I'm going to go. Just leaving the corpse in the forest. No big deal. I mean, he was a scummy guy, but damn. I like Yan Wushi helping him up. That part was so sweet. Helping him to his feet. Aw. I mean, Brick killed a guy, so this is it's a pretty eventful day. They just leave the corpse in the woods. It's fine. I mean, at least you can know that there's been justice served against the guy that killed, his servant friend. What is the stuff? He says, keep investigating the whereabouts of the stuff. What is the stuff? This episode, the translation of this episode was wild. So you is investigating quote unquote stuff. We don't know what he's talking about. I can't wait to read the novel for this part particularly. I think I'm really going to enjoy it. But yeah. And then she goes off, our Juju, and she gets confronted by Kunye, and Kunye is going to be like, hey, why don't you... He's like, what if we, he's like, what if we just like talked about things? And she tells him, for any matters, you should go to Sang Zhijing. So she's like, maybe she's the leader of the Heiwan sect, but Sang Zhijing is like her second in command. She's like, oh, you want to talk to somebody? Go talk to the second in command. Don't talk to me. I don't want to waste my time on you. Interesting. Yeah. Curious. Or maybe they're co-leaders. So then Kunye is like, we could work together to take Yan Wushi out. And she's like, I'm not that stupid. She's like, cooperate. She's like, you come find me if you want to do that. But she's like, I'm not so keen to plot against Yan Wushi. No. She's like, I'm too tired for this shit. So the abbot has given them a clue saying the imperial palace of Beifong, he saw the emperor give the golden flower ring to someone with his own eyes. But we don't know a person we're both familiar with, but have never met. Well, but I feel like this dude, are familiar with but have never met. Well, if the letter's talking about the abbot and Kunye, then it can't be Yan Wushi, because I think Yan Wushi's at least met the abbot that we know of. And if it's this guy, Yan Wushi was there during that battle with Shen Qiao a few episodes ago, so he would have seen him. I don't know. I'm curious. Who's someone has taken the ring. So the Baifeng Emperor apparently gave the ring to someone. We don't know who. So, oh my God. This episode did not have enough Yan Wushi and Shen Qiao in it. It didn't have enough. It was still a really good episode, but this was another one of those episodes that had a lot of exposition, a lot of planning. I feel like this is going to be better in the novel when I get to it, but I also feel like it's all prep work for next episode, which is the Rule of 8. So, y'all know I'm excited for that. But yeah, and then Shen Qiao. Our boy's getting a little bit feisty. I don't know how to feel about that, y'all. I don't know how to feel about that. He's about had enough. And Yan Wushi's not mad about that. So I'm excited to see where this is gonna go. So I hope you enjoyed my rambles. I hope you enjoyed this episode and the reaction. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more of 1000 Autumns. Bye!